Wow. I can safely say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this has to be the most all over the place season I've ever seen of a superhero show. And that's saying something. This is the final season of Supergirl. And you're wondering, how come I'm not reviewing seasons 1 through 5? Well, because I don't have time. But I was watching this season as it was airing. And I have to say that this has to be one of the most interesting seasons ever. Because they do something that's pretty interesting. They split the season into like two plot lines. You have the rescuing Kara from the Phantom Zone arc, which is basically tying up the loose ends with Lex and having him be defeated, only for him to send Kara into the Phantom Zone, and for the Super Friends to now venture out and try to save Kara from the Phantom Zone. And then you get all this stuff with the totems in the second half. I was kind of concerned. I was like, what are they going to do for the second half of the season? There are so many directions you can go with this. No, I don't think they should bring back Superman for the finale because it's her show. Superman now has to deal with his own crap. And personally, I think like this was more of a like we're here to tie up every side character's loose ends. Because that's what it kind of felt like. Like, you have the stuff with Brainy and Nia. Like, Brainy might have to go back to the future to merge with the big brain. Then you have Alex and Kelly, who are a couple, and Alex finally adopting a child and being a mom, which was something that she wanted to be since all the way back in, like, season 2. I mean, what? Jean didn't really have much of a plot. He was just there to be supportive, as per usual. Lena gets a new plot line that involves her learning magic, which I feel like if they brought that fact up maybe last season and followed up on it this season, it would be fine. But they basically brought it up in the second half of the season, and it doesn't really... It's like the weirdest thing. I guess we can talk about that first. So, basically, Lena finds out that her real mom was a witch. Like, what? And the only reason that Lena was, like, super into science was because the Luthers, like, put up symbols and shit to negate her magic abilities, and they steered her towards a path of science. Which is why, like, she does that thing that most characters do when they find out something new about themselves. They're like, but I know only science. I don't know magic. Like how in the first seasons of Legends of Tomorrow, what's her face? Shara was like, I'm a barista. I'm not a warrior princess. Like, yeah, it's a massive adjustment. And we only have a set amount of episodes to do that adjustment. And even when Lena learns her magic, there's always like these little hiccups, like, oh, like she's not really sure of herself. Like, I don't think my spell could work. I don't know what I'm doing. And then like they pick the most inopportune moments to have Lena like try to do magic. It'll be like there's a big like emergency, and then Kara's like telling Lena, you have to use your magic, use a spell. And she's like, I don't fucking know what spell to use. Here, this one. And it goes wrong because she doesn't know how to use the damn book or know magic properly. Like, gee, that would be great, if we had an episode where she learned magic from Constantine. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm surprised we're actually keeping the man dead this time. Because usually that's a whole can of worms in of itself. But yeah, Lena's whole plotline should have been handled. They should have brought that reveal maybe last season, and then we could have had a little bit more progression of it here. There was seemingly hints of it early on when they were attacked by the Phantoms, and Lena's fear was mostly this like water monster, it's like a folklore monster. Very interesting. I actually thought that was a pretty cool like takeaway from this. There were like some pretty cool moments, like seeing Kelly like use a shield, kind of like make a shield, like a proto shield out of like some items. So we obviously knew that she was going to be the new Guardian. That was really cool. Um, it's very interesting to see Kara be very vulnerable in this season. And when they had her in the Phantom Zone, I would say that was the most vulnerable she felt. She had no powers. No powers. She had to like make her way on her own. On top of that, she was protecting her dad, who we all assume was dead, but no, he's alive, and now has to explain everything to his wife. That has to be one hell of a conversation. And then we had Mixley, who is a fifth dimensional imp who was also in the Phantom Zone. Uh, we all thought she died, but then it turns out, nope. She hitched a ride on the tower, made her way back into reality, to our Earth reality, and she's like, yep, now I'm here to collect the power of the All-Stone. Now, I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that Kara doesn't really talk about her trauma, because it's very obvious that Kara does have some lingering effects from being in the Phantom Zone. Now, unlike, other, DC planes of existence, the Phantom Zone is meant to be like a prison, and you're constantly being haunted by the Phantoms, and they rip you to shreds. They can and will rip you to shreds. The whole thing with the Phantoms, very interesting stuff. Fear and turning people into Phantoms, that was really cool. Kara not really talking about her experience that much. She may get like a line or two or maybe like a bit of a speech about it, but then that's about all we get from it. She kind of she has like a lot more shit to wind up dealing with, which is another thing that I think this season took a really massive step back from. They recycled a plot line that was brought up in season 3, where Kara does this whole thing where she's like, I don't think I could be both Kara Danvers and Supergirl. I can't keep both of my lives, separate. Like I can't, get a hold on both of my lives. Which that was her whole arc in season 3. Here it's because basically her new boss Andrea is kind of starting to get into this whole thing of she wants to create content, but she's like, I want views. She's acting like a typical like influencer, so she's like, what's gonna get me views? And now all she wants to do is make news on the Super Friends. So they're like, oh my gosh, if your news is about the Super Friends, then that's great. Perfect. I just realized I had that ad blocker thing on here. I use an ad blocker, people. Use it. It saves your lives. And then like because Kara was gone for so long, Kara makes this story up like, oh, she was with Cat Grant. And mind you, yes, Cat could have vouched for her, considering that she did know. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Considering that Cat did know that Kara and Supergirl are one and the same, she's not dumb. But yeah, that was like a whole weird thing. And basically, it was just a lot of Kara taking a bunch of L's. Whether if it was like Mixley takes one of the totems, like Mixley will take a totem, and then or like there was one episode where she couldn't stop losing. It was like there was a barrier dividing the city. Two of these like foreign diplomats were gonna meet. Kara has to interview them. And then Kara goes to stop a monster, goes back, The interviewers showed up and apparently left within a span of maybe 2 to 3 minutes that Kara was there fighting the monster. Andrea chews her out. And Andrea tries to give her another chance. And then she quits being a reporter, something that she was really, really passionate about. All because, like, she literally had the day from hell. The city got divided, monster attack. These two foreign diplomats apparently can't just show up and stay for 5 minutes. Also, to add insult to injury, they also make William give pointers to Kara about interviewing foreign diplomats. Why? That makes no sense. I understand they were all just piling on the fact that Kara keeps losing because she's trying so hard to like spread herself everywhere, but she can't. I feel like if they wanted to, they should have done a thing where Kara's whole issue is that she's not relying on her friends. Kara's putting the weight of the world on her shoulders because she thinks she is the planet's champion. When in honesty, like, she has people that can back her up. Jean and the others could have easily taken care of the monster while Kara was doing this interview. Should something had happened, they probably would have just said, oh, the interview needs to be canceled. We need to get you guys out of here. That would have been a lot easier than doing what they did and then making Kara make a choice like, I have to be Supergirl 24/7 because I can't let my guard down, not even once. And then she lets her guard down even once, and then William is killed, and then the kid, Alex's kid, gets kidnapped by Lex, which is another thing I don't like about this season. They brought back Lex. I really thought they were done with Lex. John Cryer is a really good Lex Luthor. I really do appreciate it. I really would have just had him come back at the end of the final episode and be like, oh, like, he has a big plan for Supergirl, only for him to find out, oh, everybody now knows who she is. And he's like, I wonder what Superman's up to. And probably goes to, like, take him on now. Which, John himself said, like, he is totally down to do that. Totally down to fight Superman. So, I'm down for it. But the only reason why I don't like the Lex stuff was because of how obvious the plan was. So, the villain's plan this season is basically Nixley is trying to get all these totems to create an All-Stone that will grant her unlimited power. Lex helps her get to one of the totems. And, oh, by the way, if you fail a gauntlet for the totem, there's like a weird adverse effect that could happen. One of them was that Lex falls in love with Nixley. And Nixley constantly brings up the fact that, oh, Lex, you're going to betray me because I know you, like, I don't trust people that easily. And she kind of lets her guard down. Yes, Lex eventually does turn his back on her. And it's kind of insane. It's kind of like one of those, how long till Lex does the obvious thing and betrays her. Also, they added this bumbling sidekick villain that was just in like a two-parter for no reason. He showed up in a two-parter and was like, yeah, I still want to catch Supergirl and get revenge on her because she ruined the zoo idea, the alien zoo thing. And I'm like, why? I mean, it's not even that. It was dumb. But I'm really glad, like, the totems weren't, like, just these. I know a lot of people are like, it felt like very Avengers Endgame-y because it's like, you need to get all the items to become all-powerful. Which, yeah, I understand, but the way they kind of, added on to that was extremely good. Um, what else? I mean, William. William, holy crap. I've never seen a fandom be kind of split on a guy more than William. William Day, he showed up like I think 2 seasons or last two seasons ago. I think he showed up like two or three like a season or two ago, and it sounded like he was supposed to be like a secondary love interest for Kara, but it never went anywhere. So what they did was they decided to shove William into the plot by having Andrea go, "You're gonna hang out with the Super Friends and get to know everything about them," which sounds really, really dumb. So of course nobody can like be their true authentic selves around them. They have to be like their personas. William, I know the whole point is that William also doesn't like this idea because he's like, Andrea, like we could be reporting on like something that's really important here, but you want to talk about the Super Friends and their lives. There were other things that did lead to more interesting things, like apparently Cara and Brainy doing a PSA on greens, eating your vegetables. I don't know. I thought that was hilarious. But it was very fucking obvious that William was either going to die or find out who Supergirl is. And it didn't help that there were photos of what looked to be like a memorial dedicated to William in like one of these like leaked photos. And I was like, this man's about to die. He has all the death flags raised. He's hanging out with the heroes. He's being buddy buddy with the kid. He's being super nice. He stays behind when the sitter cancels. I'm like, oh, he's gonna fucking die. And then, of course, the last big obvious one was when Andrea basically tells the world that he leaked Lex's personal journal, which was basically Lex apparently writes like a teenage girl because it's just him going, "Oh my god, I love Mixley so much. She makes me feel things." And I'm like, well, who fucking knew? And then my mind went, this is an obvious fucking trap. And it was. And William fucking dies for it. And then I hate the fact that it was basically William. It took William dying for Andrea to be like, maybe what I'm doing is fucking wrong. I'm like, gee, you think? Oh my god. I mean, I'm just rambling at this point about the season. I think Dreamer had one of my favorite episodes, I think, in the entire season. And that was her getting the dream totem and her having to deal with her sister. Oh man, I never thought they were gonna bring back Dreamer's sister. Because if you guys remember, when Nia got her powers, she literally apologized and tried to figure out if she can give the powers to her sister because she didn't feel worthy. And of course, her sister hits her with the "you're not even a real woman," which fucking hurts. That fucking hurt to like watch. But this entire episode is them trying to reconcile their whole thing, but Nia also realizing like she's still trying to find ways to get the dream powers, and Nia's like you gotta stop. Like I've been chosen, you haven't, but you could still help me. And the episode, the way they end this is so good. It's so good. It's like this whole thing where the sister apologizes, and Nia goes, "I don't forgive you," but she is willing to give her a final chance. And I thought that was a very, very interesting thing. The the other subplot, the subplot with the convict aliens and them trying to like find a new place for them. I liked it, and I was kind of scared because I was like, oh no, is this going to start getting political again? Because this show can get real preachy about being political. But it didn't. It only lasted like maybe 2 episodes, and then they started the whole plot line with Nixley, which I was fine with. And I mean, a lot of it. And then I think we can talk about the finale, the 2 hour finale. I think something that made me go, huh, is the fact that what winds up happening. They do this thing a lot in the CW shows where character A will go, I have an idea that's really risky and will involve doing something insane. Another character will go, don't do it, it's stupid and insane. And then they wind up doing it anyways. This one is Kara needs to be supercharged by the sun so that she can go be on par with Lex and Mixley once they get the All-Stone. But apparently Kara can't just fucking fly into the sun like Clark did. She has to have the solar energy concentrated on her from a satellite beam that takes power from the sun. But the obvious catch is it damages the sun. And Lena's like, that's a bad idea. And Kara's like, well, I have no choice because Alex is either going to kill Lex or like Lex is going to get the stone and pretty much starts destroying the world. So Kara starts getting pumped with solar energy. The sun starts to fucking die. And it's one of those cases where it's like, if the sun's going out in National City, shouldn't that alert everybody else? Like, aside from the army? Like, shouldn't that alert Star Labs? Not the Legends. Shouldn't that alert, like, Star Labs? Gambi? Superman? Like, I can literally see Clark flying going, what the fuck are you doing? Just fly into the damn sun. That works too. But, okay, fine. Kara's being supercharged by the sun. It takes 4 minutes for her to be supercharged. And I'm like, oh, cool. We're going to get to see Kara do the whole, world made of cardboard line where she goes all out. But then she starts hearing all the people starting freaking out and going like, what the fuck is she doing? Because, yes, what she's doing is damaging the sun. And she stops. And I thought, oh, wow, they are really doing the city will turn on Supergirl now because she tried stealing power like her enemies did. Which I also like the fact that that's what she also said, too. Like, we tried fighting power with power, and look where that got us. We have to play it smart. I mean, okay, yeah. I hate those type of, like, plotlines because yes, the plan isn't going to work. But now it's like the added caveat of now the city possibly hates Supergirl. Because she tried to steal power. The other thing that went, the ending, the whole final fight felt it was very underwhelming. Because we had these moments where it was like, okay, it's Lex, Nixley, and Super Friends, and then Lex's mom. And then Lex's mom shows up versus the Super Friends, and they're fighting for the All-Stone. Esme gets the stone, smashes it. Kara has one part, Lex has the other half, Nixley has the other half, and then Nixley and Lex start fighting each other. It does lead to something that I really did like with what they did. So, throughout the season, the totems represent a different aspect of humanity. And because the stones are now the stones together, also now that because the stone's broken, humanity is being drained of all those things. And it's really interesting. And it's like, well, Kara didn't make anything better because she winded up trying to like kill the sun. I mean, honestly, why doesn't nobody like notice that? But whatever. Kara inspires the masses because that one character in that one episode with the convicts starts inspiring people. And it's literally like that scene in the Powerpuff Girls where they start singing the song and like the city starts getting its color back. That literally what happens. And then the final fight itself is just it's basically like Lex and Nixley subbing a bunch of random things like Overgirl, Parasite, Metallo, some monsters. And then while the Super Friends are fighting, Mon-El, Win, and Jimmy Olsen, Guardian, shows back up to like help them fight. Also, the Alex's mom shows up, and they pay off one of the most interesting bits ever. Because if you guys don't know, the Danvers' mom was also Supergirl. She was the original Supergirl from like the Christopher Reeve era Superman movies. That was something. But I mean, we got a few seconds of some cool fight sequences, and then Nixley and Lex are defeated because Lex summons the Phantoms, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be cool. Like Kara gets to face her fears and fight the Phantoms. Nope, because the Phantoms feed on fear, and there's no greater fear than hubris. Lex and Nixley are taken into the Phantom Zone, and that's the end of it. And I was like, oh, cool. We have only like almost a good chunk of the episode left. What the fuck? So the last bit of the final episode is dedicated to fan service. Everybody gets back together. Characters who were apart get back together. There are some conversations to be had. No, Mon-El does not stay and be with Kara, which I thought was going to happen, but it did not. Nor did Mon-El ask Kara to go to the future with them. That did not happen. Brainy and Nia's relationship survive. Lena is now a better person and telling Kara that. Apparently, Jean and Magan are going to have a kid. I still feel really fucking uncomfortable saying that sentence, considering Young Justice. Considering Young Justice. Alex and Kelly get married. They have a kid. It's great. There's a lot of beautiful things. And then we get the Cat Grant cameo, which was amazing. I was like, oh my god, we can't end this fucking show without having like one more like moment with Cat Grant just being herself. And yeah, there was like another Kara gets a final choice where it's like, do I live my life separately or do I live it to as wholly as I can? And the show ends on a really sweet note. Kara is sitting at Catco being interviewed by Cat Grant as Supergirl, but also Kara Danvers. Yeah, she comes out to the world as a superhero and as a person, alien, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. I like that last shot because I think Melissa deserves to be happy considering how much this season kind of was all over the fucking place. In my own honest opinion, season 6 wasn't that good. No, I'll take it back. Season 6 was kind of mid. It's a mess season. But if you can get past all like the really weird plot lines and plot holes, and you can make your way towards the ending, which is a really sweet and satisfying ending, in my own personal opinion. And mind you, this is one of those things where it's an open-ended ending. Because Melissa herself has stated that she does want to come back and play Kara for crossovers, possibly an appearance on Superman and Lois. I think she's supposed to be coming back for the battle against Despero. The battle in Flash against Despero. I'm not sure. But I personally do like the season. I think while I do think it felt like everybody else's story was getting wrapped up a lot faster than Kara's, it just really feels like because I guess Kara was the only one of the actors who might have agreed to come back, makes sense. Everybody has more of an open-ended ending. There's no definitive and they all live happily ever after. It's like, hey, you could see these guys again. They could come back. It's only a matter of time before we know the answer. And I know a lot of people are like, why wasn't Barry invited to the wedding of Alex? Nobody wants to be attacked on their goddamn wedding. Let's just put it at that. With that being said, guys, Supergirl was one of my favorite shows. I'm sad to see it go, but knowing that, Kara can come back anytime really does make me happy. Do watch this show, guys. Watch it and enjoy the ride. This is Kamen Rider Thespian, signing off.